Good afternoon, students. I am Dr. Rashmi Bansal, faculty member, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Today we have with us Dr. Raju as resource person,
Good afternoon.
who is also a faculty member, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Today he is going to speak on the topic Export Promotion in India, which is course IBO3, that is India's Foreign Trade. Now I would like to invite Dr. Raju to take over the session.
Good afternoon, learners. Welcome again to the second session. As Rashmi said, the topic is on export promotion in India. This session is divided into 5 chapters. Initially, we discuss the brief examination of rationale and evaluation of export promotion measures in India. Then, what are the organizations involved in export promotion? Next, regulatory mechanism in export promotion. Then, what are the measures initiated by the government so far to boost the exports from India? Then, what are the constraints presently India is facing to export its products and services? Then, last but not least, what are the guidelines to be followed for effective implementation of the export measures? So, at the beginning, unless we have a proper understanding about the rationale and evaluation of the export promotion measures in India initiated so far, it is not possible to have a clear understanding about the further aspects which we are going to discuss. Therefore, we discuss a brief examination about the rationale and evaluation of the export promotion measures in India. So, at the initial stage of independence, India discourages the imports. Why? Because we are not capable to produce the goods, qualitative and quantitative, to meet the international standards. So, our industry is pertaining to produce to meet the domestic demand only. So, at that point of time, it is not possible to export the goods from India, goods and services from India. Therefore, unless we discourage the imports, it is not possible to safeguard the domestic industry. As you know, if the import goods are more cheaper and high quality, then the people will not purchase the products of the nation. Therefore, to strengthen the Indian industry, it is inevitable to the nation to put some restrictions on imports. Therefore, India started to encourage the production of Indian industry and initiated policies to strengthen and develop the Indian industry and services. So, after due course, the nation realizes the importance of foreign trade. It is not mentioned or we need not emphasize that exports is an engine for national economic growth. So, it is inevitable to participate in the foreign trade to develop the nation economy. So, at this point of time, when the nation realizes the foreign trade, we have to meet the foreign standards in production as well as the quantity, because we have to produce more goods with high standards after for export after meeting the domestic demand. So for that we need sophisticated machinery and scientific production. For that we are inevitable to import the machinery from the developed countries. As you know, as developing country, it is not possible to produce the capital goods which will reduce the cost of production. Therefore, at this point of time, it is inevitable to import the capital goods from developed countries. So, when we start to import the capital goods, sophisticated machinery, scientific methods as well as services, we have to boost the exports to meet the adverse balance of payment. So at this point of time, India has initiated export promotion measures. India has started many export promotion institutions to boost the exports. So at this point of time, it is not possible to export the goods on par with the import of capital goods and services. Then after initiating the new economic policy in 1991, before that India felt it is not possible to export the goods unless we reduce the restrictions on imports. When we restrict the imports, then we can import the machinery so that we can produce more goods at lower cost. So India has initiated new economic reforms and the free trade has been introduced. Instead of protectionism, free trade is introduced. Based on this free trade, the nation can import the capital goods and consumable goods which we are not able to produce at low cost. Then we can produce more goods at international standard, so that we are capable to export the goods to other nations. This is the brief rationale and evaluation of the export promotion measures which have been initiated in India. Now we are going to see what are the organizations involved in export promotion. Initially, the Department of Commerce, in Ministry of Commerce, this is the apex organization in the nation to look after the export activities in the country. This organization is responsible for policy decisions relating to infrastructural as well as export promotion measures. It monitors and formulate the policies, export-import policies relating to the context of nation. Then the second organization, Chambers of Commerce and Trade Associations. If you see the slide, this Chambers of Commerce and Trade Associations supplement the activities of Department of Commerce. This is the organizations which discharge the functions of delegations, trade delegations. They sent the trade delegations from India to abroad to understand the logistics of the export mechanism, as well as they organize, this Chamber of Commerce organize seminars, conferences, trade fairs and publicity, and also buyer-seller meets. These are very, very important to exchange the ideas as well as functionary strategies to boost the exports. Then another organization, various state governments has started different agencies to boost the exports. the state government has initiated to start the organizations, agencies, that is export cooperations. These export cooperations initially started in the state of Gujarat as well as Punjab. Then at present in every state we have export cooperations. These export cooperations provide necessary inputs to exporters and assist the exporters, guide the exporters to export their products. Then another agency under the state government, training programs. The state governments organize training programs to the interested exporters. The training programs consist of various activities which are important for exporting the products and services. Then third, export promotion industrial parks, EPIP. Nowadays, if you are coming across the news as well as news bulletins that the state governments are establishing export promotion industrial parks. These export promotion industrial parks are the a institutional framework which facilitates for export the products. It provides infrastructural facilities and it creates a congenial atmosphere, and it facilitates the infrastructural facilities to export the products. Then another agency, the state government has started cells in state secretariats. These cells will be headed by the chief minister of the state or the chief secretary. They will look after the functions, they evaluate, they examine the performance of the exports, and they get the feedback. Based on that, they advise the exporters how to plan their products to export different countries. And another agency, that is nodal level nodal officers. The state governments also appointed nodal officers at Ministry of Commerce, Government of India, to coordinate the export activities from state to central. These nodal agencies also named as Niryat Bandhus. So they coordinate the export activities in between the state and central. Whatever the central assistance or funds, they coordinate these kinds of activities between the state and central. This is the total network of organization with a clear communication between the agencies to agencies. All these organizations will work in the directions of the EXIM policy, import and export policy, which is being designed time to time by the Indian government. Now we are going to see the regulatory mechanism. See, unless if the country initiated the export promotion measures, it will not grant export growth in the country unless there is a regulatory mechanism. The regulatory mechanism time to time should coordinate, control the economic export activities, and they should guide the exporters what they have to do time to time. So in this regulatory mechanism in export promotion, the first institution is Export Inspection Council. This Export Inspection Council was established under Section 3 of the Government Export Act 1963. The main aim of this Export Inspection Council is that it inculcate quality consciousness and self-discipline. See, as I said earlier, unless we produce the products or services which meets the international standards, it is not possible to export such products and services. Therefore, this regulatory mechanism, Export Inspection Council, will decide the quality standards and it guide the quality consciousness as well as self-discipline in the export process. And it provides sound development of export trade in the country by taking measures from time to time. Then second agency in regulatory mechanism is that Export Inspection Agencies, EIAs, Export Inspection Agencies. So far, 5 export agencies have been established in different states under Export Inspection Council. That means the Inspection Council will look after the functions of the export inspection agencies. These export inspection agencies will equipped with well-established laboratories. The functions of this agency is to qualify the product standards. It inspects different types of products and decide whether that particular product is up to the mark for export. Otherwise, what will happen if we export low standard of a product to any country? It reflects on the nation export trade, total export trade. You have seen previously in newspapers that some of the products which have been exported to foreign countries are returned by those countries due to low standard. Therefore, this inspection council take care in deciding the quality and standards of the products which the exporters export the goods. Then another regulatory mechanism is sub-offices of export inspection agencies. These offices have been established in various states, even among the various states also, where there is a point of export from nation to other countries. These export points of ports, shipment and air cargo points, that means airports and other points, export processing zones and special economic zones, all these are export points. So these sub-offices have been established, and there itself the quality of the product will be decided, and they issue the certificate. Apart from these mechanism, 21 private and 7 government inspection agencies have been established, and the government has recognized these 21 private agencies to look after the quality inspection and issue the quality certificate, to decentralize the functions and make easy of the export promotion measures. Now, coming to the export promotion measures which have been initiated so far in the country. These export promotion measures have been initiated time to time based on the global export scenario. In this export promotion measures, the government has set up export processing zones and 100% export oriented units. Here export processing zones are different and export oriented units are different. I will differentiate, I will explain this difference later on. Here, so far the country has established 7 export processing zones. If we see where these export processing zones have been set up, one is Kandla in Gujarat state, another is Santa Cruz in Bombay, and third Falta in West Bengal, then Noida in UP, Cochin in Kerala, Chennai in Tamil Nadu, Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. These 7 export processing zones have been established. It provides these export zones. These are the places where the government has identified to boost the exports and facilitate the infrastructural facilities for export the goods and services, and improve market facilities to boost exports. So here another measure is that export oriented units. Here 100% export oriented units. These 100% export oriented units are the complement to the export processing zones. Here export processing zones are excluded the duty tariff areas. Duty tariff areas are different. These that we'll discuss later. These export oriented units one can establish at any place. Normally these units are being established where the raw material is available, or skilled labor is available, or the nearest point of export places. By considering these factors, normally these export oriented units are established. For that, the persons, those who want to start export oriented units, they have to take permission or license from the government. They have to fulfill certain obligations. Then only permission will be granted to establish these areas. But whereas export processing zones, it will be decided by the government keeping in view of the various factors to boost the exports. Now the question is, what are the facilities exporters will get through export processing zones or 100% economic export oriented zones? So if you see the slide, these are the facilities. Number 1, automatic approval, means the exporters, those who wants to export their goods through export processing zones or 100% export oriented units, they will get automatic approval to export their products. Then no import license. That means if they want to import the capital goods from other countries to expand their production to meet the export demand, they can import capital goods, raw material and consumable goods with no import license. And third facility, customs duty and excise duty are exempted for their foreign trade. Next, another concession, concessional rate of duty on domestic sale of 50% product. It means this is a facility provided through export processing zones or export oriented units if they produce goods and they can sell 50% of their production in the domestic to the domestic consumers on concessional rates. The remaining 50% they can export without customs and excise duty. That means they cannot sell their products on concessional rates to the domestic buyers, not more than 50% of their product. So minimum 50% they have to export, then they will get a facility to sell the products on concessional rate of duty. That means a normal duty will be charged on domestic sales. And another measure is export promotion industrial parks. These export promotion industrial parks are centrally sponsored scheme. Under this scheme, these parks have been established with a view to involve the state governments in the creation of infrastructural facilities for the export of products. You have seen in the newspapers, so many state governments are coming forward to establish the export promotion industrial parks. Under this scheme, the state governments are providing the funds by the central government to establish these schemes to facilitate the exports. Another scheme is software technology parks, electronic hardware technology parks. These are the parks established with full equipment which needs a further assistance to export our products. So in this under this scheme, 100% export oriented projects catering the needs of software development exports. These schemes are exclusively to export the software development and import the hardware components, spare parts, and so on. For importing the components from other countries with an intention to export the software products, 100% duty free is given, and it is exempted from the license also. Then next, special economic zones. These special economic zones encourages free trade and duty-free enclaves. These are duty-free enclaves. Here, whatever the goods going into special economic zones from duty tariff area will be treated as deemed exports. These special economic zones are located in the country itself, but for the sake of foreign trade, this area will be treated as foreign zone. Therefore, this area will be treated as foreign zone. Whatever the products from domestic tariff area passes into special economic zones will be treated as deemed exports. Means these products are supposed to be exported to other countries. But the products which are coming from special economic zones to duty tariff area will be treated as imports only, not deemed imports. Here only deemed exports means the products and services passes from duty tariff area into special economic zones, deemed exports. Why we are treating these products as deemed exports? These special economic zones are considering as a foreign territory, even though these special economic zones are situated in the country itself. These special economic zones are exclusively for exporting the products to foreign countries. Therefore, whatever the products passes into the special economic zones are supposed to be export other countries. Therefore, these are deemed exports. Then now you see the facilities. What are the facilities are given for deemed exports with the goods which are entering from DTA to SEZ? There are three facilities, major three facilities are providing. That is advance license. One is advance license for intermediate supply and deemed exports. Another facility is deemed export drawback. Now what is drawback? What is this facility? This drawback means if the exporter export the goods, he will pay the excise duty or other duties which are being imposed by the government if it covers no scheme. If the importer import the goods with an intention to export the same goods to other countries in the same form or with another form, that means after processing the raw material or semi-finished product or components. So The importer, when the importer imported the goods, they have to pay some excise duty and custom duty. So if he export the same goods, then he will get back the excise duty and customs duty what he paid on imports. This is duty back facility. So you will be clear about the duty back. Duty back is when the importer pays excise duty and customs duty on imports with an intention to export the product out of it, then he will get back the amount he paid on excise and customs duty. That is duty, that is drawback. So deemed exports are free from duty drawback. And third facility is refunds on terminal excise duty. They will get refund on the excise duty which they paid at the time of imports and exports. And another scheme is export houses, trading houses and star trading houses. Under this scheme, the concerned agencies will evaluate the previous performance of the export of that agency. Based on the previous performance of the agency, they will give some status to that particular exporter or export agency or export company. So based on the performance, they award some status. This status may be 1-star trading houses, 2-star trading houses, 3-star, 5-star. Like that, they will give status. Based on that status, they are eligible to enjoy certain benefits time to time introduced by the government. Then diamond, another scheme is that diamond, gems and jewelries promotion scheme. Under this scheme, the exporters can import the raw material of the that means for manufacturing the jewelry, they can import the gold and raw stones for manufacturing diamonds and raw pearls also. And they can prepare the finished goods, they can export the same to other countries. So for this imports of raw material for preparation of diamonds, gems and jewelries, they need not pay any custom duty or excise duty. And these are, under this scheme, it is license free of imports and the finished goods can be exported without paying any duty. And another scheme is export services. These export services are grant status. Based on the performance of the organizations, the government, state government or central government will provide status. Based on the performance of the services they exported to other countries, on that basis they give the status. Based on that status, these export service agencies will enjoy certain benefits. Next, another scheme is export promotion capital goods scheme. This export promotion capital, under this scheme, they can export the computer software and they can import the inputs of the computer software subject to the export obligations. That means under this scheme, they can import the inputs of computer software with an obligation to export it. Under this condition only, they will get certain facilities and duty exemption. If they import the software, not an intention to export the same in the other form to the other countries, they won't get this duty free benefits of the imports. And if we go the further schemes, duty exemption remission scheme. Under this scheme, inputs required for export production will be given facilities, and duty free advance licenses is issued for exports. Duty free licenses will be issued under this scheme. And export finance, this is the financial assistance provided by the state government or central government to the concerned export agencies whenever they are in short of funds. These export finances will be granted at pre-shipment and post-shipment, and to for transport of the export products, and so on. So for all process of exporting, the state or central government will assist and provide the finance whenever the exporters are in short of funds. Then tax relief. This is another important export promotion measure. Whatever the net profits the export agencies earn, on that there is no income tax. Income tax is exempted out of the returns of the exporters in the process of exporting foreign trade, and there is no sales tax. Sales tax is exempted from the exports, and no excise duty. These taxes are relaxed in the agencies which are involved in foreign trade, and the amount earned, returns earned out of the foreign trade, this tax relief is provided to boost the exports. Then another measure is brand promotion and quality assurance. This a committee is appointed to certify the brand promotion and quality awareness. See, for example, if anybody wants to export their product, as per his knowledge, it is not possible to decide what kind of brand is to be designed, and what is the quality assurance, at what standards the product has to be produced. So a committee has been appointed. This committee will guide and give information time to time about the quality assurance, as well as this committee will promote the a particular brand in the foreign markets by organizing seminars, conferences, and so on, buyer-seller meet, and they promote. This committee will promote the brand in the foreign market, so that the Indian exporters will get an opportunity to export that brand with quality standards. Next, another crucial balancing investment scheme. This crucial balancing investment scheme is nothing but, under this scheme, the nation will provide all infrastructural facilities to facilitate the exports in time. These infrastructural facilities may be transport, that is roads, ports, and airports, and export centers, so on. Then another measure is that electronic data interchange. This electronic data interchange, under this method, the government will provide communication in relation to the exports. See, communication nowadays, communication relating to a particular activity is very, very essential to understand the logistics of that particular activity. Unless we know which country demands which product and which country is producing at what cost, it is not possible us to decide whether we are capable to export that particular product to that particular country. For example, if a product which we are producing the other country is also producing with lesser cost, then it is not possible us to produce the same standard of the product with lesser cost which the other country is producing. Because our cost of production is more, then we have to realize with more selling price. Therefore, the communication is very, very important. This electronic data interchange will provide the all types of communications to the exporters from time to time to take necessary strategic plans for exporting activities. Next, state cells. Every state has started state cells with nodal officers, and the state cells also established some nodal agencies in different parts of the state to provide quick information to the traders whenever they need. These state cells will provide, they collect the information from different parts of the globe and they preserve the information, and that information will be disseminated whenever the exports are needed. Spot information system. Then another major promotion measure is market development assistance. This is another measure which is very, very important for export promotion. Market development assistance scheme. This scheme is established by state governments, and it provides export infrastructural facilities, and funds allocation are utilized for under this scheme. Under this scheme, the government allotted some funds with the assistance of central government. These funds are sanctioned and utilized for these purposes. The purposes are, one is market research. That means these funds can be utilized for market research with an aim to export the products only. This is market research for export. And commodity research, they also organize commodity research of different countries. For example, we are producing X product and another country is also producing X product. Then research will be done on the product about the standards and quality. And area survey and research. Area survey means this market research. Then another area the funds to be utilized is product promotion and commodity development. Product promotion is very, very essential to boost the exports. Unless we know the product promotion logistics, it is not possible to export a particular product. And commodity development. So according to the time to time, see nowadays whatever the product we are seeing in the market, it completely it is changing its design and its functions also. Therefore, this commodity development is also very, very essential. Time to time we have to meet the global demands in respect of the this commodity development. It is also called as product mix. Then export publicity and dissemination of information. This export publicity is very, very important. It is a kind of advertisement. Unless you advertise your product at a global level, it is not possible to attract the importers of that country. So, and participate in trade fairs and exhibitions and trade delegations and study teams, establishment offices and branches, grant in aid and export promotions. These can be used. The funds can be used for this following purpose. These are the export policy promotion measures.
Thank you, Dr. Raju, for giving such useful information to students. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again.